Social media has created a generation of students who are more aware of the things happening in the world around them. This access of information and misinformation may make students align themselves politically at a younger age than teachers have seen before. So how can educators help students talk through important but possibly controversial political issues?
Teaching as social media was invented and utilized by students, I've noticed they're much more aware of what's going on. A lot of them will share a meme or a post, but then maybe not really look at the nuance of certain issues. So sometimes their understanding is kind of just surface level.
This is Matt Flynn, an AP US History and Government teacher of 14 years. He started teaching when social media was beginning to get big. He says that surface-level knowledge of the issues is a great place to start for students, but it's important for students to understand that their positions don't exist in a vacuum.
Students really live in those echo chambers that they really, a lot of times, had not heard the opposing argument. So, I always tell this story, the day after the 2016 election, I had a student who was very upset with the outcome of the election and just ranting and raving and, how could anyone vote for that candidate? And, and I said, well, have you ever talked to anybody who would vote for that candidate? And her response was, why would I ever talk to anybody who would vote for that candidate? And that was really kind of a eye-opening moment.
One of Matt's strategies for countering polarization is through neutrality.
I always tell them, whatever position you think, there is an argument in opposition to it. So you should probably know what that argument is, even if it's just to bolster your own opinions. So I pick provocative issues that they'll have a knee-jerk response to one way or the other. And I just came at them with, what the argument is. I definitely give them a lot of pushback, which for kind of those kids that want to push a little further, it will kind of force them to understand their position at a deeper level.
Playing devil's advocate inside these conversations also helps students feel heard if their position is an unpopular one.
A lot of times I'll do anonymous polling, with Google Forms so that they can see, oh, there's 30% of the class agrees with this position, to kind of give those kids that maybe aren't going to be vocal about their position in class, to give them a voice, because a lot of times, it just becomes the loudest voice in the room, wins the argument.
Playing devil's advocate for both ends of the political spectrum maintains a sense of neutrality inside the classroom and allows Matt to provide a calming environment to discuss sensitive topics. Matt also does this by extending that neutrality to his personal social media accounts.
I kind of vowed off of making, political statements on my personal social media, just because if you're trying to foster open dialogue in a social studies class and they already know, what I personally think, then they're either going to take that position to suck up or be quiet because they don't want to get, chastised. It's a difficult, tightrope to walk.
What are some of the tools or strategies you're using to talk about political issues in the classroom?